All right, so we will go ahead and start lying on our backs. Push my really sad plant out of the way. I've been trying to bring this plant back to life and I just don't know if it's going to happen. All right, so once you arrive on your mat, you can lie down on your back. It might feel nice to have a small block or else a rolled up towel or blanket underneath your hips. Sometimes that can be really pleasant here, especially once I start offering some options for movement. But for now, we can let the knees knock in toward each other. Let the eyes either begin to focus on a single point, or else we can even close them. Notice the breath as it already is. It might be kind of shallow, a little bit quick. We tend to spend most of our breathing time in the top third of our lung capacity. So notice if that's kind of where your breath is right now. And if so, the invitation is to deepen that. I like to start by exhaling fully, feeling everything draw in towards center. And then inhale to expand. And the inhale and exhale, it's a similar action to a balloon, right? As you blow into the balloon, your breath expands in all four directions. Well, six directions actually, front to back, side to side, top to bottom. And then as you exhale, or in this case, let air out of the balloon, it evenly draws in towards center, again, from all six directions. So you can picture this radiant sort of breath. And the option is to stay here, maybe enjoying stillness. That might be what your body, your nervous system needs right now. But if you would like to start with some movement, we'll bring the hands behind us, fingertips down on the mat, and tuck the tail so that the low back touches the mat. That should maybe make it a little bit easier on the hips as you draw the knees in. Now from here, the legs can stay bent or they can straighten any amount. But we're going to draw the legs away from us and then in. Away and in. And as you do this movement, it can be as big or as little as you want it to be. It can be as straight-legged or as bent-legged as you want it to be. And as fast or as slow as you want it to be. And the arms can stay where they are, kind of offering this extra point of stability. Or we can bring the hands toward one another and draw them in the same time the knees are in, and then away when the knees go away. And this way we're just kind of gently warming up some of the main joints of the body. As you continue to oscillate in this movement, picture the backside of the body. Specifically, those three main convex curves. The bowl of the pelvis, the rounded out area of the thoracic spine and shoulders, and then the backside of the head. And let those areas become incredibly heavy. And notice how that maybe impacts your movement here. And we can continue for 3, 2, 1. Bring the toes back to the mat, bring the arms out to the sides. Give yourself a moment to simply be still, maybe finding that initial starting position. And again, maybe staying here. But if it feels okay, we can start with the arms out to the sides, whether palms are face up or down. Draw the knees back in. And this time we'll go side to side with the knees. And we'll add a little pressing away of the knees as they go through center. So we're doing kind of the smile part of a smiley face here. A little arch. Again, the arms can stay as they are. But if you would like to add them into this movement, we can round them as though we're holding a beach ball. And the knees are having to move away from that far edge of the beach ball, the roundness of the curve. And then when the knees come into the left, maybe the arms go to the right. And so we, in this way, stagger the movements. And if we want to think about anatomically what's going on here, we have a spinal twist. We have flexion and extension through the hips at different points. And then we have some motion in the shoulders. And we can always add in the head too. And if we'd like to add in the head, we can keep our eyes in the same direction as our knees. So in that way, recruiting through the cervical spine. And again, picture those 3 convex curves on the backside of the body. And imagine them being very heavy on the mat. It's not a forcefulness, it's not a push. It's just a heaviness. And the legs can stay bent. We can lift the feet a little bit higher, maybe. Or we can even add in a little bit of a straightening of the legs, maybe as the knees are drawn in. Or maybe we hold that straightness the whole way through the motion. And we might continue for 3, maybe for 2, and 1. Bring the knees in toward the chest. Option to grab on the knees and rock side to side. Option to bring the arms out, plant the feet, and find stillness. Again, an invitation to stay here if that would serve you. Or to reach the right arm long overhead and then roll onto the right side of the body. Options here, we can let the hand cup the back of the head, kind of above the right ear, or we can let the right ear rest on the right bicep. We'll step the left toes behind us. Doesn't have to be a big amount. And then from here, the left hand is pressing into the mat. We're gonna lift the right knee kind of toward the left armpit. So it comes up at a little bit of a diagonal. And there's almost a leaning back that happens here so that we don't feel like we're rocking the whole body forward and back. And again, you can find your pace, you can find your straightness or bentness of leg. You can always make an adjustment for ease, for greater comfort. And there's the option to keep going like this, or to add in the left arm. And it would be as the right leg lowers that the left arm reaches back and then forward when the leg lifts. Picture the right side of the body as we're doing this. Imagine that it is very heavy on the mat. And maybe you go for 3, 2, 1. Lower the right leg. If the right side of the head is lifted, lower it down. We're going to lower the right knee atop the left and bring the right hand out more to a T. Bring the left palm atop of it, slide the left fingers further than the right fingers. And we'll start to trace a circle on the floor. So coming back behind us, keeping the fingers as low as we can, maybe dragging a knuckle, coming up over the bum and the thighs, and then finding the ground again. And so we're just focusing on keeping the fingers in contact with the earth as much as possible here. And on your next circle, instead of that contact being your focus, bring your attention to the right side of the body. The ankle, calf, knee, thigh, hip, ribs, shoulder, head. What happens when those things become very heavy? Maybe the fingers aren't touching the whole way this time, but the movement is nice and isolated in that shoulder. And notice, are there sticky spots? There might be some places where you just kind of want to hang out and focus on that specific part of the motion. You might want to switch your circles the other direction. You might want to keep going exactly as you are. There's no right or wrong here. And you might continue for 3, 2, 1. Left palm atop right palm, slide the fingertips back all the way until your fingertips rest on the tip of the left shoulder. And from here, soften every muscle that you can in that left shoulder as you do some nice circles at the elbow. And notice, is there a way to soften more? Sometimes it helps to straighten out the arm and kind of go from there. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. From here, we can roll to the back side of the body. Maybe take a breath. Take a moment of pause. And as you feel ready, we'll roll over to the left. Same setup to start. Head can be in the hand or lying down. The right toes will step behind us a little bit. Left fingertips on the mat for support. And we'll lift the left knee toward the right shoulder, right armpit. And sometimes we get to the second side and we're like, wow, I'm moving a lot. That's okay. All right, we went through that process on the other side. We just hadn't gone through the process of stilling the other side yet. So it wasn't maybe as obvious as right now. All right, now if the left leg is lifting and you want to add in the arm, remember it'll be opposite. So knee to mat, arm behind, and then they reach toward each other and away and toward. You can continue to find this movement at your own pace. And maybe you bring awareness to the left side of the body and the right foot. Thinking of being very heavy through those zones. For me, the image that comes to mind is always of a sandbag. I picture everything just kind of settling in my body. And you might continue for 3, 2, 1. Lower the left leg, bring the right knee atop the left knee. From here, we'll swing this left arm to be more at a T, to where the head is just resting on the mat. And bring right palm atop left palm, reaching those fingers beyond the fingers of the left hand. And then again, we'll start tracing this circle up overhead, around behind us, come over the bum and thighs and back down. And initially, we're just keeping contact with the mat. Feeling that really wide range of motion here. The whole body gets a little bit involved. which is how we do most of our movements throughout the day. And if we're grabbing something off a high shelf or if we're turning in the moment, we're not typically isolating. So it's good to move like this as well. But let's go ahead and bring our attention to the left side of the body. Ankle, calf, knee, thigh, hip, ribs, shoulder, face. Let those areas become incredibly heavy so that now we are able to really focus in on this movement through the shoulder girdle. Notice how that changes your experience of this movement. You might continue for 3, 2, and 1. Bring the palms toward one another. Slide the right fingertips back up the left arm, across the collarbones, and bring them to the tip of the right shoulder. From here, we can begin to circle that elbow. And go in whatever direction feels best to you. Try not to think about it too much. And again, it might feel nice to straighten out the arm. Maybe from there, you feel like you can relax the muscles a little bit more. And for 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower the right arm down, roll onto the back side of the body. Take a couple of breaths here, recentering yourself. In a moment, we're going to prepare to move in a little bit bigger of waves, escalating into a flow. And so it might feel nice to take these moments to just scan through the body and notice sensation that currently exists. And maybe even make a little vow to yourself that you will do whatever feels most nourishing at the moment. And if you feel ready to do so, we can again do that really conscious tucking of the tail, bringing the low back to the floor as we draw the knees in and extend the legs up. From here, point and flex the toes a couple times. We can grab onto the back sides of the legs anywhere and start to draw them in a little bit closer. And maybe we start to lift the torso up a little bit. I like to do it on exhales, lifting my torso up, thinking of bringing my armpits and my knees toward each other. We're being gentle. The knees can be generously bent. And we can allow maybe these hugs in to start turning into rocks. And maybe a rock brings us all the way up to a seat. From here, let's plant the hands, roll over the shins, but keep the knees wide, toes wide, and press back into the feet so that we're almost in a Malasana Squat, but the knees are kind of lowered. We can stretch out the bottoms of the feet here. And then the next time that the knees are lowered toward the mat, let's go ahead and actually bring them down and plant ourselves in a tabletop position. From here, we're going to take a few moments for some organic movement. So you might wag the tail side to side. You might find some traditional cat-cow. You might do some kind of waves through the spine or circles, imagining that you're kind of like, I don't know, doing a sort of washing machine movement with your torso, for lack of better description. One more breath here. And then let's really rock into the hands, grip into the fingers, and do some circling of the shoulders over the wrists. And then the other direction. Rock forward and back. And then eventually slide the hands forward a little bit, curl the toes under, bend the knees deeply, and lift up and back to a downward facing dog. Give yourself a couple of breaths of exploration here. Knowing you can drop the heels to one side and then the other for some IT band stretching. You can find stillness and focus on the breath. You can bend the knees deeply and work on opening through the shoulders. On your next inhale, let's bring the right leg into the air. Exhale, knee toward left elbow or tricep. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, knee toward right elbow or tricep. Take a moment here, lean forward a little bit more. Maybe bring that knee a little higher up. Maybe work on lifting the left hand up. Lower the left hand, right leg up and back. Exhale, step it toward the front of the mat. Lower the knees. Inhale, we're going to reach left arm up, right hand back toward the back thigh. All right, now it can stay even at the low back. It can crawl down the glute, maybe find the lower thigh. Maybe we even lean back enough to get to the calf or heel. Honor what feels good in your body. Exhale, bring the hands forward. On an inhale, tent the fingers, lift the hips, rock back onto the right heel, lifting those toes, finding a modified pyramid pose. The right knee can be bent here. Take a couple breaths, feeling through the shape. Inhale, bend into the right knee. Keep the left hand planted. Pivot on the feet so that you're pointing toward the right long edge and reach the right arm up, finding this nice side stretch. Arm can be up or over the ear, whatever feels better. Keep lifting the hips up. Now on your exhale, fun transition here. Right hand's gonna thread under the left arm as we pivot on the feet. Come all the way around, wide-legged forward fold. All right, take a moment here. This is an intense shape right at the start of the class especially. So just allow yourself to greet it. Maybe the knees stay quite bent. Press evenly into all four corners of each foot. Let the head be heavy. Inhale, elongate the spine, look forward. Crawl the hands back to the front edge of the mat. Lower the left knee. Inhale, both arms up, low lunge. And then exhale, bring it forward. Plant those hands, right foot steps back, plank pose. Option to lower the knees or not as we move through a vinyasa, knowing you can always add in extra push-ups, or you can skip the vinyasa altogether. Make it as sweet or as spicy as feels good to you, and then we'll meet in a downward dog. On your inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee toward right tricep. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, knee toward left tricep. Rock forward, maybe a little bit more. Maybe try to lift that knee. Maybe you try to liberate the right fingertips forward. Lower that hand down, lift the left leg up. Exhale, step it through. Lower the right knee. Inhale, right arm up as left hand reaches back. Maybe crawls down the thigh. Maybe finds the low back. Maybe reaches toward calf or heel. Exhale, cartwheel it out. Fingertips on the front edge of the mat. Inhale, lift the right knee, lift the left toes. Finding this modified pyramid. Take a couple breaths here, getting into the backside of that left leg. Inhale, bend into the left leg. Keep the right hand planted inside of that foot. Turn the toes to point toward the long edge of the mat. Inhale, left arm up. Reach those hips up. And on your exhale, look toward the right hand. Thread the left hand under. Crawl your way to a straddle. Let the torso hang. Again, be gentle here. We're not yet warm enough for this shape to go very deep for most of us. So just explore it tentatively. On an inhale, we'll elongate the spine, crawl the hands back to the front edge of the mat. Lower the right knee again. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, bring it down, step back. Plank pose. Option for any vinyasa of your choice. We'll meet in a downward facing dog. Now, if you found that it was really hard to maintain that first movement of knee toward tricep and liberating the opposite hand, step the feet in just like an inch or two closer toward the hands. And then we'll inhale, right leg up. Exhale, knee left tricep. Inhale, lift. Exhale, knee right tricep. Lift it high, maybe reach the left hand forward. Plant the left hand, inhale, right leg up. This time, bend the knee, open the hip. Reach knee towards sky. Exhale, right foot forward. Lower the left knee, right arm up, left hand reaches back. Exhale, lower it down. Press into the fingertips, lift up, modified pyramid. On your next inhale, bend back into the legs, left hand stays planted. Cruise those toes over to the long edge of the mat. Inhale, right arm up, lift through the hips. Exhale, thread the right arm under the left, straddle fold. Notice if this feels any different than the first time you were here. Inhale, halfway lift. Crawl the hands back to the right foot, lower the left knee. Inhale, both arms up. And exhale, bring it down. Plant the hands, right leg goes all the way up and back, three-legged dog. And then on your inhale, pull yourself through to an up dog. So don't think about it too much. Just think, pulling through, right foot plants, left foot matches. Upward facing dog. Lower halfway down, crawling over the toes, and then press up and back, downward facing. Take a breath here. Conscious reset. Maybe those toes come a little closer than our traditional down dog. And then inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee toward right tricep. Inhale, lift. Knee toward left. Lift that knee in and up, reach the right hand forward. Lower the right hand, left leg back and up, bend the knee, open the hip. Exhale, step it forward. Left arm lifts, right arm, nope. Right arm lifts, left arm reaches back. Exhale, bring the fingertips down, press into them, lift the left toes, modified pyramid. Inhale, bend into that left leg, right hand stays planted. Roll toward the left long edge, reach the left arm up. Exhale, thread that arm under the right, wide-legged forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. Feel your way into this. Inhale, halfway lift. Crawl the hands back to the left foot. Lower the right knee. Inhale, bar both arms up. Exhale, plant the hands. Three-legged down dog. Left leg is lifted. Don't think about it. Just pull yourself through as you plant the top of the left foot. Top of right foot, upward facing dog. Lower halfway down. Press up and back. Downward facing. All right, we've got the same sequence once more on each side. So inhale, right leg up. Exhale, knee toward the left, tricep. Inhale, lift. Exhale toward right, reach it in high, reach the left arm forward. Lower left hand, inhale, right leg up and back, bend the knee, open the hip. This time, option to touch those toes down. Lift the hips high, find your wild thing. Draw the shoulders toward each other on the back. Reach out of the heart and the hips evenly. And then come through a side plank. Right arm up, left toes to the right leg. Actually the opposite. And then step those right toes forward. Plant those fingertips. Crawl the hands back, lifting the right toes, modified pyramid. Inhale, bend into the right leg, left hand stays planted. Swivel on the feet, lift the hips and right arm. On your exhale, right arm threads under the left, wide-legged forward fold. For a second to last time. On an inhale, elongate the spine, crawl back toward the right toes, lower the left knee, inhale, lift the arms up. And exhale, plant the hands, three-legged down dog. Pull it through, upward facing. Half push up and back, downward facing dog. All right, last time with this set, inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee across the body, right tricep. Inhale, up. Exhale, left tricep. Reach it up high, maybe lift the right fingers. Plant that hand. Inhale, left leg back and up, bend the knee, open the hip. Maybe touch those toes down. Lifting through the hips, reaching out through the heart. Wild thing. Come through a side plank. Maybe left toes find right leg. And then they step forward. Fingertips on the mat. Straighten through the left leg, lift those toes. Inhale, bend. Right hand plants. Swivel the feet to point toward the left. Reach the left arm up. Exhale, left hand threads under right arm. Find your wide-legged forward fold for the last time. Noticing maybe a sense of being a little bit closer to the floor with the head, a little bit more folded over with the torso. We visited this shape many times today, but we were never as warm as we are right now. So it might feel just a little different. On an inhale, crawl the arms forward and then over to the left foot. Lower the right knee, inhale. Exhale, bring the hands down, left leg back and up. Last time doing this. Pull through, upward facing dog. Lower halfway down, push up and back. Downward facing dog, bend the knees, bring the hips back, sit upright for a moment. Take a moment maybe to let the hands rest on the thighs, to let the shoulders soften from the ears. Scan through the body. We can notice the feel of the mat beneath us, the temperature of the skin, the sensation of breath. Again, picturing that balloon within the chest. And it might feel really nice to stay right here, to settle further into this moment of stillness. But if you would like to add in just a little bit of elevated play, we're going to plant the hands on either side of the knees and maybe a little bit further back than the knees so that the fingertips are behind the knees, just a smidge. And as you press into the hands, you're going to round through the back and hug the knees into the chest, lifting the hips up. So we're coming up on top of the toes. Okay, that can be really intense on the feet. So if it's intense on the feet, maybe you just kind of come in and out of it. If you feel up to it, you might find it and hold for 10, 9, grip into the fingers, round through the shoulders, 7, 6, 5, 4, press the mat away, 2, 1, lower down. Let's all sit upright for a moment, hands on thighs again. As we prepare to move into our final set, which is going to open us a little bit more side to side. We've been focusing mostly on front to back. We can enter into that space with that renewed intention of offering ourselves whatever truly feels right. Knowing that that might be something entirely different from what I offer, and that's okay. Let's go ahead and blink those eyes open if they were closed and crawl our way back to a downward facing dog. If you were just on the feet, you might notice how they feel a little bit different here. And all of us on an inhale will lift the right leg up. Exhale, draw that knee in toward the right tricep. Think of lifting the left arm up as you lower onto the inside edge of the left foot, and then kick that right leg out, lowering it down, fallen star. One breath here. On the exhale, draw that knee back in toward the chest. Pivot back to plant the left hand, and then step the right foot forward. From here, we're going to inhale, hands to heart center, find crouching warrior. So the left leg lifts behind us, but the right knee is really bent to provide more stability. We're going to enter into our half moon, and we might try to do this without hands, just pivoting the body open to the left. Or we can lower the right fingertips and maybe reach the left arm up. Wherever you are, take one more moment to be there. And then lower the left foot behind you. Setting up perfectly to lift the torso and find warrior two. Take a moment here. Feel the hips lower down. Shoulders softened away from the ears. Maybe we bend a little deeper into that right leg. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Keeping the feet where they are, begin to hinge over this right hip in particular. Maybe the right hand slides down the right leg. Maybe we lift the left arm up, finding our triangle, Trikonasana. Inhale, bend into the right leg, come back up, warrior two. And on the exhale, we're gonna cartwheel the hands down. Heel toe the right foot across the mat toward the left, lower onto the shin. Active pigeon, left knee is lifted, toes are tucked. Hands can come back to the front leg. Draw right hip back, left hip forward. Think of anchoring that tailbone straight down, and maybe that gives you enough lift to even bring the arms into the equation. The left knee's lifted, lower it. Untuck those toes. Two options here. Option one is going to be to stay upright. And maybe we work on even bending this back leg in. Potentially we grab it with the left hand. Potentially we let it be active. Option two is going to be to recline the torso forward. Finding some softness as we settle into a restful version of this shape. Wherever you are, I invite you to maybe consider where can you find more ease? Where can there be a little bit more softness? We're here for about 10 more seconds. And on your next inhale, begin to ease your way out of the shape toward a downward dog, taking whatever feels like an appropriate method to get there. And then scan right to left. Wiggle it out, maybe find stillness, whatever aids you in noticing the difference. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee toward left, tricep. This time we let the inside of the right foot come to the mat, bring the right arm up, and then kick the left foot forward, lower it toward the mat, fallen star. Take a moment to bring the left knee back in, plant the right hand, and step the left foot forward. Setting up here for our crouching warrior. So hands can come to heart center. We can stay leaned forward. From here, as we bend into the left knee, the right leg lifts. And maybe we find a little more ease here because of that bent left leg. And then we'll begin to find our half moon. Whether we use hands or not, or fall out completely, it's all fair game. Go ahead and lower the right foot. Windmill those arms up. Whew, warrior two. Soften those shoulders. Do what you gotta do to settle into the hips here a little bit. And maybe you go a little bit deeper into that left knee if it feels okay. Maybe you focus on just orienting the hips a little more toward the long edge of the mat. On an inhale, straighten through the left leg. Keep the feet where they are. Left hand can come to the thigh. Work its way down that leg as we maybe find our Trikonasana, triangle pose. Think of drawing the left hip back, right hip forward here. It's subtle. Rebend into the left knee. Bring the body back up. Warrior two. And then exhale, cartwheel it out. Heel toe the left foot across the mat, setting up for active pigeon on the left side. Right knee is lifted, left hip back, right hip forward, tailbone tucks down, locks everything into place. Maybe the hands come to the front leg. Maybe they lift. Lower the right knee. Move into whatever feels best to you. Maybe bending the back leg, staying upright. For me, I'm like, wow, it's a lot different on this side. Maybe lowering forward into a more restful pigeon. Here for about 10 more seconds. Find ease where you can. And begin to gently move out of this and find a downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna end at the front of the mat. So you can do that by taking a few hops. Maybe you're feeling like getting into your hands a little bit. And you can think of rocking shoulders past the wrist, but feeling the back sides of those shoulders as your stopping point and hopping the feet up. Maybe that sounds terrible. You just want to step to the front, that's fine too. We'll all end at the front of the mat in a Malasana Squat. All right. We're gonna go into some wheel circles, but they don't need to be full wheel pose, okay? So from here, start by bringing the right hand behind you and lifting the hips and reaching the left arm up. So it's almost like a wild thing. And then lower the hips back down, come back through center. Left arm back to the left, right arm circles around and up, and come back through center. All right, so lots of glute work here, lots of hip opening here. That's the first option. Maybe you do this a few times and you're like, yeah, I'm feeling it. It's a nice full body movement. So it lubricates through the joints really well. And you'll probably notice a difference after doing it a few different times per side. Now, if you get up and you want to flip it all the way over, what you would do is as you lift, you'd pivot that top hand to plant, and then you'd replant the other hand. And then the other hand has to point out toward the long edge of the mat to come out that way. Right, it's kind of funky. So I'll go through it on my left side. Left hand reaches back, right arm reaches up. Maybe I lower the fingertips down, replant left hand. Then to get out, I have to bring the right fingertips to point toward the right edge and ease out. And know that it takes some time, right? The first few times I tried that, I tried spinning my fingers one way, then the other way, and it was weird. More than anything, just think, what would my body have to do here to move out of this shape? Nice, guys. Yeah, and so play with that maybe once more per side, whatever it is you're doing, knowing that you don't need to flip it all the way over. And then we'll end up back at the center. And we can lower the sit bones down, find a seat. Take a moment here. Scan through the body. We have a few minutes left wherein we have the opportunity to either sink straight into Shavasana or maybe to move through some other shapes. For example, after something that's stimulating, it might feel nice to lay on your back and hug one or both knees in at a time. Maybe then even finding a spinal twist by drawing the knee across the body. And we can focus on lengthening out exhales as we do this. It might feel good to find a headstand or maybe a bridge pose. Maybe a happy baby. Ultimately, we want to land somewhere that feels restful for us. And that can still be a form of some sort. It could be seated upright, lying down, legs up a wall. Wherever it is, and whatever it is, invite ease into the body. Feel that sensation of the exhale, that release, that surrender. Allow that to infuse whatever shape you find yourself in. Soften, especially through the shoulders, the jaw, the eyes. Hold in your mind's eye the entirety of yourself. Try to feel what it is to be in this body right here, right now. One definition of meditation is when your mind and your body are having the same experience. And it's not something that we try to do. It's a stopping of all effort and a stopping of all doing. in? Have you stepped away from the same experience as your body is having with your mind? So gently direct your attention back to this experience. On your next exhale, draw the navel in, really release all of that stale air. Inhale fully. You might continue these nice deep breaths. Maybe adding in little wiggles, little movements, little messages to your body, little awakenings of it. And eventually we'll meet up in a seated posture, but I would ask you to take your time, be intentional about how you arrive in that shape. Once we are here, we can inhale arms out to the sides and up, palms touching overhead. Exhale the thumbs all the way down to heart center. Here we can set any sort of intention as we navigate the rest of this day. We can also take a moment to thank ourselves for showing up. Namaste.